Minister, the overruns of the National Children's Hospital underline the need for enhanced oversight of public spending in the National Development Plan. Capital spending must be about more than ribbon cutting by ministers and glossy launch brochures. It has to be about more than spin and photo opportunities. After all, this is taxpayers' money we are talking about. This bill is a practical measure to avoid future overruns and ensure the taxpayer gets value for money for capital infrastructure. Whether it's a motorway, a new hospital, a primary care building, a new school, there must be follow-up on actual delivery and value for money. Fianna Fáil introduced this bill in 2017 in order to enhance oversight of capital spending. It draws on recommendations in an IMF assessment of infrastructure spending issues in Ireland. It ensures an automatic Comptroller and Auditor General review of capital projects is triggered if costs rise by a certain amount or anticipated demand falls. This would place Ireland in line with international best practice and ensure we learn lessons from the Children's Hospital overspend scandal. The IMF highlighted serious shortcomings in the planning of major infrastructural projects in Ireland and the lack of a national strategy to deal with the current bottlenecks in 2017. The report, normally carried out on developing countries, was requested by the government, your government, in a bid to improve the delivery of public infrastructure, and follows a visit by an IMF inspection team earlier this year. However, it has not been acted upon by the government. The overrun at the National Children's Hospital stands testament to their refusal to learn the lessons of the report. With 42 billion due to be spent on capital projects over the next decade, we need a rigorous set of performance and value for money reviews to ensure it is spent wisely. We must act to ensure that the state gets to grips with the over-budget, the over-time, the overspend, over and over again. That problem is at the heart of capital spending. This bill is a positive step to address the persistent problems of overspends. In contrast, the government's mishandling of the scandalous overruns in the National Children's Hospital undermines their credibility on delivering value. While this bill prevents cost overruns in the National Children's Hospital, will this bill prevent cost overruns in the National Children's Hospital? No, however, it is timely. While other parties run with motions of no confidence, political posturing, this country still needs a government at a time when Brexit is only 45 days away. The overspend on the National Children's Hospital has to be a lesson to all of us, because it's the reprofiling, to coin the Taoiseach's phrase, of capital projects that will lose out. Certainty and clarity is required now as a matter of priority as to what projects will be reprofiled, delayed, deferred. It's the knock-on effect that the cost overrun, the 391 million, that will have to be found. Is it the hospital that needs more beds? Is it the school that needs an extra classroom? Is it the road that may not be upgraded? The list is absolutely endless. The National Development Plan sets out almost 116 billion of investment, which will underpin the national planning framework over the next 10 years. 91 billion in exchequer funding for public capital investment has been allocated and will be supplemented with substantial investment by commercial state-owned enterprises. I use my own constituency as an example. The demand for capital funding to progress, for example, the North Quays project, the 4.35 million capital funding for the second permanent cath lab, Minister, which I know you are fully supportive of, and thankfully this has not been reprofiled. Capital funding to extend the runway at Waterford Airport. The lesson has to be learned, and I believe this legislation, this bill reflects best practice internationally to tackle such overruns and apply the lessons learned to future projects. Gorv Mahagut.